on financial literacy, but they have certain topics on literacy, financial literacy, that have been introduced into the curriculum of this country. So right from basic school, school children are able to appreciate what is called inflation, what is called interest rate, and those things. In Ghana, some work has been done among tertiary students. Example is Osifwa et al. 2018 and Sapondanko 2018. They have done some work on financial literacy among tertiary students. But what had not been done is trying to juxtapose financial literacy with investment behavior. And so our work is centered on that, looking at financial literacy and what effects it has on investment behavior. Objective to determine financial literacy levels of Ghanaian tertiary students, to examine the relationship between financial attitude and investment behavior, to examine the relationship between financial behavior and investment behavior, and to examine the relationship between financial knowledge and investment behavior. Our research questions are what we have over here. Before we get on the real work, we have to look at some operational definitions, but because some of the terms look similar. What is financial literacy? The OECD 2017 defines financial literacy as the art of acquiring knowledge, skills, attitude, and good behaviors towards financial management and being able to make sound economic decisions about financial matters. This is an operational definition of the OECD. When you talk of financial literacy, we have investment, money or resources committed with the aim of generating income and expecting appreciation. That is, we all know and talk about investment. Then investment behavior. Here it looks at how people understand, analyze, weigh, evaluate, and predict the outcome of an investment amidst risk and uncertainties. This defines investment behavior. So, what is the concept of financial literacy? The concept of financial literacy, as we look at over here, comprises financial knowledge, financial attitude, and financial behavior. So the term financial literacy is broken into three over here, and it tests financial knowledge, financial attitude, and financial behavior. What is financial knowledge? Financial knowledge has to do with an individual knowing how a deeper knowing and having a deeper understanding of finances. We'll be looking at it. Okay. Then financial attitude. From the definition, it is how a person acts towards financial matters. Thus, an individual can have either a positive or negative financial attitude. We will get on that one too. Then financial behavior. It has to do with how an individual manages, plans, and controls limited financial resources. So we have financial knowledge, financial attitude, and financial behavior. What is the methodology that was used for this work? It was an exploratory research because we were entering an area we don't know. And we were to establish relationships. So the level of financial literacy, and we were looking at its effects on investment behaviors of the respondents. So the survey population was Ghanaian tertiary students, like we said. And here, tertiary students refer to universities, technical universities, and what the definition, operational definition that we have in a country for tertiary institutions. Sample size and sampling, we narrowed down on 200 students, and the technique was purposive sampling with snowballing technique. We developed Google Forms, and we just selected people in tertiary institutions and sent it to them with the instruction that they should send it to their friends. And so we recruited just a few, and the other friends recruited others, and we had a response rate of 90%. That's, we had 180 participants from 23 different tertiary institutions responding. The research instrument was adopted from Mendes da Silva 2016, but we did some modifications because some of the questions were more related to advanced economy, so we have to modify some of the questions. But then, generally, it was divided into 4 sessions. We have the demographic, then we have a session that tested financial attitude, and a session that tested financial behavior, and a session that concentrated on financial knowledge. So the data analysis and the tools we use, SPSS, to analyze the data. This is participant profile and the institutions that took part. Well, we come to our results. Before the results. Test for financial literacy, the questionnaire that we sent. A 5-point scale was used. 1, strongly agree. 2, disagree. 3, neutral. 4, agree. And 5, strongly disagree. The mean and standard deviations of the responses were determined. Scores less than 5 were considered, while scores greater than 2.5 were considered neutral. And those above that were considered agree. Okay, this is what we found for financial attitude. For most of the questions, students' responses were neutral. For financial behavior, it was almost the same. It was neutral. For financial knowledge, we had quite a lot of these graphs that we could not produce for, but we have the overall results to show. So we looked at investment behavior, and here again we found the responses to be neutral. So we test for normality of our responses, and we found that the skewness and the ketosis of the data that we used, and found that they were the norm. Then we tested for reliability, and we tested for the Cronbach alpha, and we saw the acceptable levels of Cronbach alpha was from 0.7 to 0.9, which means that the data we had was reliable, except financial knowledge. And it shows itself in other aspects of our determination. So this is our correlation. From what we have over here, we did a correlation between all the variables, financial attitude, and financial behavior, financial attitude, financial knowledge, and financial attitude and investment behavior. This is what we found. We found that this is investment behavior. Against financial attitude, we saw that it was significant. Investment behavior against financial behavior, we saw it was significant. Investment behavior against financial knowledge, we saw it was not significant. What we realized was that the questions that were used for financial knowledge, that was the area that students did not do well at all. So you could see that financial knowledge was very low. In the context of financial literacy, financial knowledge was really very low in all the respondents that we had. So we did a regression. And in the regression, we found it to be significant over here. The ANOVA for our regression was the critical F was really low. So we found the regression to be very significant, which means that financial literacy against investment behavior was significant, because we found financial behavior and financial attitude to be significant. So we did our R for the model, and our R coefficient of determination was 0.271. So we came to the regression coefficient. And for the coefficient, we found financial attitude to be 0.226, which means that financial attitude against investment behavior is positive, although very weak from the responses that we had. Then financial behavior against investment behavior is slightly high, and here we can see that it's higher than this, which means that students responded, their responses to financial behavior could influence their investment behavior. That was what we saw. When it comes to financial knowledge, here we found a negative coefficient. And this one we attribute to the poor responses to the questions on financial knowledge, which means that if their response is anything to go by, then it means their response means they could not save at all. And this showed itself in the other aspect. This cements the fact that financial knowledge is really very low, even among tertiary students. So, we put our findings together for objective 1. Level of financial literacy of Ghanaian students. The study revealed that majority of the participants have low level of financial literacy. The components used to measure financial literacy were financial attitude, financial behavior, and financial knowledge. So, objective 2, the relationship between financial attitude and investment behavior. The study revealed there's a positive and moderate correlation between financial attitude and investment behavior. The coefficient of correlation was 0.226, and we could see that it's very low. It's in line with some other work that has been done by other researchers. Then we come to objective 3, the relationship between financial behavior and investment behavior. Here, the study revealed that there is a positive but moderate level of correlation between financial behavior and investment behavior. And here, we find the coefficient of correlation to be 0.465, which is slightly higher than the initial one. Okay. When it comes to financial knowledge, relationship between financial knowledge and investment behavior, this is where we recorded a negative response. And we attribute it to the level of question, because in that session, respondents were supposed to answer questions on compound interest, where we gave certain questions and the students were just supposed to give a response. And you could see that majority of them could not answer those questions on compound interest at all. So, our conclusion. What we found was that financial attitude and financial behavior from the response together contributed to investment behavior from what we saw. At their p-values were less than 0.0.5. However, for financial knowledge, it did not contribute to financial investment behavior. So, our recommendation in an already piled school curriculum that we don't know what to do about, we will recommend just as is being done in other countries. We will not recommend a whole course on financial literacy, but there could be certain topics in financial literacy which could be introduced into the curriculum. For example, if it's an English textbook, there could be just a chapter on interest rate, for example, and there could be a story woven around it, so that although they are learning English, at the end of the day, they have learned interest rate. And if something like this could be done right from the basic school level, it could be helpful. Because further research has shown that the development of a country depends on the level of financial knowledge, financial literacy of the people. Because when the people are financially literate, that is where they can even get to the financial market and put their money there for investment. If they are not financially literate, it will be very difficult. Therefore, as we conclude, we say that it is in the interest of the country, even at the university level, to introduce some, whether it's a seminar form or whatever, for university students to have some idea about some of these financial issues, because we can go into all other areas of endeavors, but it narrows down to finances. And therefore, everybody must have financial idea. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Boadu. Pick two questions. One, let's pick the first two to answer, then we go to the next one. So, Dr. Mark and then Nick.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I just have only two in your objectives. Yeah, the last objective which is talking about financial knowledge and then financial literacy. Are they not related? Financial knowledge and financial literacy. And when I look at the regression that you did, if you include both financial knowledge and the measures of financial literacy, is it not possible it may lead to multicularity?
Okay, I can answer it.
Okay, so mine is maybe two. So the first relates to the design. You mentioned that you adopted an exploratory design, and that's where I got a little confused because mostly when you talk about doing exploratory designs, the expectation, like you mentioned, is when we don't have a lot of knowledge about that area. And so in most cases, the studies start from being, once you start from that angle, then we expect that you do a qualitative way. If you don't have a lot of knowledge about the area, I want to start digging into that area, then you start with qualitative, and possibly you continue by doing a quantitative work. So when you mentioned that you're doing an exploratory, and I realized it's called quantitative, it was quite confusing to me. So that's one. And then two, the analysis, I didn't see clearly. I mean, when you look at the figures, on your descriptives, most of the figures are neutral. So I was also looking at how the questions you asked for. I didn't see exactly the question for all the variables for the how do you call it? The question for the variables to use. If you can just show us so that we see it clearly, because I also got a little confused there.
Okay. Whether financial knowledge is not the same as financial literacy. From the operational definition of OECD, financial literacy is defined as financial attitude, financial behavior, and financial knowledge. And therefore, we tested each of them, and each of them is part of financial literacy. I think the other one. So we can see the regression. The behavior became the independent variable, and the attitude, knowledge, and investment behavior became the same. There's a correlation. Okay, that's the regression.
Okay. So we have the financial knowledge, financial behavior, and financial attitude. So
Financial behavior, the independent variable over here, financial knowledge, a dependent variable, financial behavior, a dependent variable, and financial attitude, a dependent variable.
I don't know whether your question is answered.
So we will talk.
Is it?
We have to talk.
No, we need to.
Are we okay?
Let's go to the correlation table. The correlation table.
Yes, I don't know whether it is. The figure was not right.
Here is financial knowledge. What we found was that the response to the financial knowledge questions was very poor.
What I'm saying is that is the 0.84 correct? Or
Yes, from the data, from our input data, it's correct. Financial attitude and financial behavior.
you're not getting
were
what I'm saying.
significant.
You have 0.387, which is significant, 0.47, which is significant, 0.433 significant, but 0.841 is not significant. That's what I'm saying. That is there a mistake Is it 0.841? I
This
don't know where
one.
you're getting what I'm saying.
Is it this one?
Yes.
As against this and this?
No.
No. Come and let me get it.
I don't know where you're getting what I'm saying. Yeah. Yes, but you don't get what I'm. But the correlation coefficient is 0.841. That's 84%.
There is some multiplication in what you are, that is what you are saying.
No. It's significant, total significant. This is what we are looking at.
So that is not significant too. It is not significant because it is 0.84. No, it is significant if it is low.
Yeah.
Looking at. Yes.
Derek should
Derek,
come.
I think look at it well. When you look at the Pearson correlation side, the Pearson correlation, okay, for the FINO 1.5. Okay, so it's the 6, which is the 0.8. Are you okay now? Okay, thank you. But your question that you asked, if you look at the table, the multi-correlated is talking about. Now, the independent variable, that's the FIN art and the behavior, attitude, and the knowledge.
Yes.
By the correlation, they are correlated, meaning that there is that existence of multicollinearity.
Okay.
That's what he's trying to refer to. That
Okay.
if you do the regression, definitely you have a significant model,
Yes.
but there exists the multicollinearity in the model. Okay, and that's what he's asking. How do we address that?
I think we'll
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, let me finish my question.
That is an issue of multicollinearity, isn't it?
It's in line with this.
Is it?
You
Hello.
have to address this guy.
No, Derek. Please, sir. We are taking note on this. Is it an issue of multicollinearity?
Yes.
In, correlation among the independent variables, then that concept comes in, and you need to address it. So when you fit the model, you should identify which one is actually contributing. Well, we may be pairing, okay, to have influence,
Yeah.
but one may be influencing the other.
Okay.
So which one is actually contributing, and which one is just playing a passive role in the model?
Thank you.
Okay. My question to the model is the constants. When you are explaining, if you look at the constant there, the regression equation.
This one.
Yes, the model, no, the summary one, the descriptive, the next page,
This one.
the next page. Okay, so this side, I see the constant being significant. That the 0.002.
Okay.
But it didn't explain the implication of that or what it means regarding the investment behavior. So you have a model where there's a constant which is significant in this regard. How does it, what is the practical interpretation of that?
Okay.
Okay. So that's what I need to understand for your research.
Okay. We will try to do that and incorporate it in our work.
In view of that, my understanding of this outcome is that there's a constant which is significant, meaning that irrespective of all the independent variables that you are considering, there's something that's influencing investment behavior.
Yes.
And it's significant.
Yes.
So whether I go to, I have financial knowledge, financial attitude, and all that, if I don't have any of them, I still have that investment behavior potential.
Yes.
And I don't know how that one you can address it, whether it supports your research or it contradicts your research finding.
Okay.
Because your research, one I also noticed that, is it tertiary education, tertiary level? I was expecting to see a sampling that covers the levels, level 100, 200, 300, 400. Then we can know that even though we don't offer clear financial literacy program, but they are inherently embedded in the courses that we do. So somebody in level 400 will have to have high knowledge or more knowledge in financial knowledge, and then investment behavior than a level 100 student. Then we can say that in that case, the courses that we offer at the university level or tertiary level has inherent financial literacy component, which is quite okay. If it's not the case, then your recommendation will go by that we should institute a clear financial literacy course. And that's something that I think if we can have it as early, it means that the SS level, they are lacking it, but when they come to the university and they go through the drill, by the time they finish, they have that financial knowledge, and then they can go about their investment attitude.
Thank you. In fact, what you are saying now is a whole research on its own, where here we narrow on business students. Because whether a student is in the final year or not will depend upon which program that student is offering. Research has shown that it is financial literacy and not just literacy that leads to investment behavior. Thank you very much.
We have a question from
yours is on exploratory, and you find the whole work to be quantitative. But I think we did the qualitative aspect, and that has to do with the questionnaire that we sent around.
If you say you are doing exploratory, looking at the explanation you give, I expect it to be qualitative. Okay. And then if you look at the sampling techniques you use snowballing is a qualitative technique. So that's why I got more confused. Okay. Because snowballing is a qualitative sampling technique. It's not quantitative sampling technique. More sir.
Well, when you look at exploratory, you can solely look at it from quantitative and qualitative, because you are looking at something that is unknown. And quantitatively, you can ascertain that direction of research. So I don't think, it depends on the direction of the research. But exploratory is very general, irrespective of. So the dimension from a positivist researcher will be totally different from an interpretivist. So I think we can't fault in that line.
What Dr. Nicola is saying, normally when you go by the exploratory, as I said, unknown areas. So if the area is unknown, then it's very difficult to establish causal relationships. So you then developing regression models and this bivariate models means that will contradict the earlier design. I wish that you have a causal explanatory model, where that one states clearly that you are very much aware of the various indicators of phenomena in the research field, and that you can then establish whatever relationship that you are thinking of. So to me, it's not about exploratory or qualitative or quantitative, but once you are thinking about regression and doing all these models, then the best option is the explanatory research design. And that one mostly goes with quantitative, because you're going to generalize by the indicators and figures that you have provided, which sometimes also contradict that of qualitative research.
Thank you very much. Still on the same topic. All right. President.
Yeah. I find the topic very interesting, financial literacy. And I commend you. That is, those of you who did this research. In the test that you ran, I think much of the responses, if I'm not mistaken, were neutral. And you develop a 5-point Likert scale. Why didn't you do it 4? Because the 4 is stronger than the 5. Because once it's 5, then it allows people to, just take the middle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Provost.
My advice. I have not had the liberty to read this thing, but just watching your presentation, I would want to advise that you subject the write-up, if it is aimed at publication, to the APA test. Because I saw a lot of. So I went to Mina to confirm whether what I've seen was consistent with APA, but we both agree that it's not consistent with APA. So you need to check. And I would want, Mina, you should consider, for all of us faculty, just the APA referencing, citation, just for us to, refresh our memory, because it's very, very important. So you may want to consider reviewing your whole document, to make it APA compliant. Okay.
Thank you. Very
The
much.
second one, advice again. If you submit this a paper for publication, and you have run a quantitative study, this mainly quantitative regression, trying to explain relationship, and you say that your design is exploratory, you are likely to get a rejection. They will not even go into the distance. I take the view that he submitted, but many journals, once you say it's exploratory, they are expecting more exploration rather than explaining relationships. So consider the appropriate design
Okay.
for it. But my main interest is, so to what effect? What's this going to do for us as Ghanaians? People, what is it going to do for us? That's a fundamental thing. Okay? Your recommendation is that government, if you want the research to be really very practical, I think that's too nebulous, that's too general. This will be research as we know, for the shelves, you see, and it's not going to get implemented. It's not going to be done. So you may want, and again, your population, okay, your study was on tertiary education level students. So your title should also be very appropriate. Otherwise, when I read your title, it may come across like you are doing financial behavior for Ghanaians, but it is not. You are only looking at tertiary, and the cohorts are behavior are completely different. If you did this study among market women or among teachers, or you will find most likely different. So your title should be very appropriate to what you are doing. But I think that research should be productive. This is a good thing you have done, but you really need to do a little bit of fine-tuning. Look at your recommendations again. I didn't see you talk about implications. Derek attempted to tease out that if you look at your findings and the statistics that you presented, there are a lot of implications. You need to look again deeply at the implications of these findings. You haven't shown us sufficiently what this implies, and therefore what we need to do. At the individual level, at the firm level, before you begin to talk about government. Even when you talk about government should introduce financial literacy, but that's too generic and not too useful if you're really looking for results. But on the whole, I think it's a very interesting topic. If you do a little bit of pruning and tweaking, it could be useful.
Thank you very much. There was one question from Cornelius. I would want to admit that question before we
All right, thank you very much. My question is under the methodology. I want to know the mode of how you collected your data, and with regards to what Mr. Nicholas said, a new space you are entering into. So what do you use, purposive and snowball? I want to get more insight on that. Thank you.
The whole thing, we use Google Forms. And with the Google Forms, we sent it to friends. And we expected friends to forward it to friends. That is how the whole thing came about. And that's where the snowballing came in. So in order to get the data, even among HEC students, it was snowballing that we used to collect the data. So that was the most appropriate method to use once we are using Google Forms.
Hello, Doc. For the purpose, as he asked, normally you choose to either interview someone or administer a questionnaire because of a reason. But I'm not getting that clarity as to why you use purposive.
We use purposive from our understanding, choosing your respondent. And because we are in the domain of the population, we wanted to elicit response from anybody. But we chose some people because we knew them, and we forwarded the Google Forms to them. And we asked them to also forward it to friends because they are all tertiary students. We knew that we could get the responses from them. That was why we chose that method.
So, Dr. Boyd, I think maybe you need to consider the views on the snowballing and see how best you can recouch that or explain, motivate if that is indeed what you really did, then you need to provide clearer explanation to it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We adopted a questionnaire, and the questionnaire we adopted had a 5-point Likert scale.
Okay, President, we have a response for you.
President, for Likert scale, for 4 Likert scale, we've moved beyond that. Now, for a more balanced Likert scale, we are moving on to 7-point Likert scale. For any journal to really accept your Likert scale dimensions, mostly they consider the 7-point for a more balanced, a more free space for the respondent to be able to pick. But for 4 and 5, we've passed a long time ago.
You may want to re-administer your questionnaire and change this thing. And so for all of us who are thinking of researching, we don't just launch in. I know you want to publish this, right?
Yes.
Have you already looked for the journal or the scope of journals you want to?
Yeah, we have about 3 journals.
And do you know their expectations? But this is very important.
Yeah,
That's one of the reasons why we get high rate of rejection. Yeah. Because you only send it for them to just take a look at it. They won't come within a day or 2. They'll come back and say rejected, and sometimes they will not even give you a good reason.
For one, we have all the details.
So I'm just to take a look at the requirement and be sure that you have met the requirement. They will not reject.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dr. Gwedu, we are very grateful. Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, thank you very much. I mean, that is the beauty of academic research, and that is what add up to the rigor. I mean, there are several comments that we can use to improve this work. You would also benefit from some peer review. I would advise maybe you look for one more faculty. You do an internal peer review of your document, the same with Kingsley. Do an internal peer review before you take it, because the journals can be very tricky. And the funny thing is they are mostly PhD students. PhD students are really critical. When they look at your work, they will just reject it before. So please, let's do an internal review. There are so many resources here that we can do before we go ahead. The next paper is from Ms. Patricia Moa from the Department of Management Studies. She is talking on high performance work systems and job performance in the mining industry. Patricia is a lecturer at Heritage Christian College. She is in the area of human resource management, and then she's doing her PhD with the University of Cape Coast.
Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Moa, and there is an aspect of my work. I've gathered some data, and I'm not fully done with the data collection. So I'm going to present what I have. Okay. So my topic is on high performance work systems and job performance in the mining sector. So this will be the outline of my presentation, and then my introduction. So if organization will survive, it will depend on the human resource that they have, and then the job that they do within the organization. So research has indicated that the growth and improved performance of organization will depend on the human resources and also the job that they do. So in order to sustain the job performance of employees within the organization, researchers have provided us with have come up with several systems that we should use, and one of them is high performance work systems. And when we say high performance work system, what is it? It's basically bringing together several HR practices together, and then you look at them together as one, and then how they influence employees' performance. How the high performance work systems came into existence. So it started from United States of America, and then what happened was that in the 90s there were there were fierce competition coming from the world powers, Japan, Germany, and then Sweden. So a research was conducted, and they were questioning U.S. on how to survive in this competition. And then the U.S. Labor Department came up with what we call the high performance work systems, where they were saying that they should use the various HR practices and then use them to influence their workers and make them to be able to increase their performance at the workplace. So as I said earlier on, high performance work system is basically looking at interrelated HR practices that have been put together to be able to achieve an outcome. That is human resource high performance work systems. So the importance of high performance work systems lies in its ability to be able to help organizations to get the right caliber of people to work in the organization. And what it does is that when you look at coming from the AMO theory, it says that these practices should work together in concert to be able to provide employees with three main things. And then the theory talks about the fact that the system should provide employees with the ability, the motivation, and then opportunity to be able to perform at the workplace. And according to Chen and Chen 2021, they are saying that when these systems are put together, what happens is that it promotes motivational process in employees to be able to work hard and then increase their job performance. So when we say employee job performance, what are they? We are looking at the things that employees do at the workplace and then how these performance help organizations to achieve their set goals. So when you look at the job demand theory, it says that organizations want more from employees, and when they do that, the expectation brings about what we call burnout, and then this leads to job stress. So the argument that I am advancing here is that how do we then therefore use the various HR practices at the workplace to make sure that employees are able to achieve their set targets in the face of highly demanding work environment. So what is the problem? When you take the mining sector is noted for work environment that the pressure that is very high. So employees are, where you go, the regular employees are working for long hours. They are supposed to work within an enclosed area, and that puts a lot of pressure on them. So even having access to them to attend to my question was very difficult. And according to Amposatan Ria and then Moore et al. 2021, they are saying that when employees are put under high pressure, that deters them from doing their job. It means that when the pressure is so much, it gets to a point where they try to reduce their job performance. Now, when you go to the mining, the reason why I did this, I chose the mining sector has to do with the fact that when you read the literature, most of the work that are done within the mining sector focus more on the health and safety of employees. Majority of the work that you see there. And at times you see motivation. But when it comes to employees' ability, looking at their motivation and looking at the opportunity, bringing them together to assess their job performance is lacking within the literature. That's the more reason why I chose to do this within the mining sector. And you all know that mining sector is doing more for the country, contributing to our economic development. So my general objective is to look at the relationship between high-performance work systems and job performance within the mining sector. And these are my specific objectives: to examine the relationship between ability, enhancing HR practices, and employee job performance, motivation, enhancing HR practices and employee performance, and opportunity, enhancing HR practices and job performance. When I say ability enhancing HR practices, I'm talking about the various HR practices put together to provide employees with the ability. And when I say ability, you're looking at the knowledge, the skills, and experiences of employees. And when I talk about motivational HR practice, enhancing HR, we're looking at the various HR practices put together that help to stimulate employees to do their best at the workplace. And when we talk about the opportunity enhancing HR practice, we're looking at the HR practices that are put together that give employees the room to participate or get engaged at the workplace. So these are my hypotheses. And then the significance of the study. So to practitioners, this study is going to provide vital information for the companies to evaluate their HR practices, and also the policymakers within the industry is going to come up with the various high-performance work system models that can be implemented. And then to literature, the study is adopting two main theories, the AMOR theory and the job demand resource theory, to assess or to examine the relationship between high-performance work system and the job performance. So it's going to help us to also have a better understanding in that direction. So when we say AMOR theory was propounded by these authors in 2000, Ablembaum 2000, and then they are saying that for performance to happen at the workplace, they should focus within three main things: the ability, motivation, and opportunity. It means that the people doing the job within the organization should have the ability, they should have the motivation, and they should have the opportunity to be able to perform. And then the job demand resource theory is saying that at the workplace, employees are exposed to two main things: the demand of the job and the resources of the job. So the demand of the job looks at the expectations that the organization expects from these employees, and that will lead to the burnout, the stress that employees go through. And when that continues for a very long time, what happened is that it demotivates employees to perform. As such, they should provide enough resources that will serve as a buffer for employees to be able to balance the two. So in this research, what I'm saying is that the various HR practices or the high-performance work systems at the workplace should serve as a buffer in a highly demanding work environment to make sure that employees are continue to perform at the workplace. So I did some empirical review. Other authors have done research on this, and when you look at the literature, a lot have been done. A lot have been done, and these researches are coming from other countries. When they come to Ghana, it gets few. But I'm just looking at what relationship are they getting, what the results they are getting after they do their research. And I reviewed about 5 of them, and all of them had a positive relationship with job performance. So this is the model, but for the purpose of this presentation, I'm doing just the direct relationship between high performance work systems and then job performance. That is what I'm looking at here. So for the research methodology, I did quantitative research, and as a positivist, I believe that knowledge can be acquired within the environment without necessarily influencing the results that you get. As such, I did purely quantitative research, and for my research approach, I did as a research approach, I did quantitative, where I came up with hypotheses, and then my hypotheses were backed by theories, and I'm doing explanatory for the research design, explanatory research design, and for the study design, I did cross-sectional. The data was collected within a short period of time. That's the study design. For my population, I chose employees within the mining sector, and I focused on 4 major mining sectors in Ghana. And for the data collection technique, I did stratification and random sampling. So for the stratification, employees within the organizations are put into departments, and then they were randomly picked. So when I come to the organization, I randomly pick the employees from the department. So I used questionnaire. Questionnaire was my main data collection instrument here. And then it was a 5-legged scale instrument. So for Newmont had about 5,900 employees. And I used this sampling size determination to select my employees. So the N represents population, and then the E sign represents 0 point something. So you put in the figures and you get your results. So AngloGold had 2,145 Golden Star. Okay. So for the instruments, I adopted an instrument from LIPAC et al. 2006. The items for the high performance work system, the questionnaire had 21 items and made up of job design, teamwork, recruitment and selection, training, performance appraisal, compensation. And for the job performance, I adopted William and Under 1991. So this is my demographic data analysis, demographic. So when you look at the demographic characteristics, gender, male was 207, and then female 103. And within the mining sector, I realized that it's a male-dominated work environment because of the working conditions where employees are supposed to work within an enclosed environment. And research has shown that heat is one of the issues when employee women to work underground. So when they are picking, getting females that will be able to work underground becomes much of a problem. So mostly they employ male. Okay, so I think this is, and I did my reliability test of the instrument. So for the ability enhancing HR practices, they all met the threshold. According to Shuttleworth 2015, an instrument should have 0.70, and all my instruments had that. After that, I did factor analysis to make sure that the questionnaires are not loading on the other. So, and these are my results, my correlation analysis. So for my correlation analysis, when you take the 9, that's the job performance, and I'm measuring, I'm looking at the relationship. 6 is ability enhancing HR practices, 7 is motivation enhancing HR practices, and then 8 is opportunity enhancing HR practices. So when I take the 6, so 9, you mark 6 to 9, the relationship is, that's the last one, is positive, and then significant. So when we say significant, those the 2 stars mean significant. And then we have the 7, matching on to job performance. It wasn't significant. And the opportunity enhancing, that one too was significant. When we come to the regression analysis, we need to first check for the model. So for the model summary, I'm using the adjusted R-square, which explains that high performance work systems explains 11% of employee job performance. The ANOVA talks about how the data fits for the analysis, and that is significant. And then for the coefficients, we have they were all significant and possible. When I did the correlation analysis, it wasn't significant. Okay. So I'm using the beta values, and for the beta values, ability enhancing HR practices explains 23% of employee job performance. Motivation enhancing HR practices explains 14, and then opportunity explains 27, and then the motivation explains 14% of employee job performance. So the 3 of my hypotheses were supported, and these findings are in line with the papers that I reviewed. So Half-Ital and then EGDA 2021, they did a specific analysis where they looked at ability enhancing, motivation enhancing, and then opportunity enhancing on job performance, and they all had positive. So my study, my results were in line with the results that they had. And so what am I saying here? What I'm saying is that within highly demanding work environments, the practices you have in place are very, very important, because employees are going through stress. What are the systems have you put in place to make sure that these resources will buffer the demand that or the stress that employees are going through? So for theoretical implication, the AMO theory and then the job demand theory have really helped us to understand that within high demand environments, resources are very, very important for employees to perform. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to those resources. And for managers, what it means is that they need to put in place practices that will enhance employees' growth, will pay attention to employees' appreciation, and also pay attention to employees' reward. And the last one limitation of the study is that the data was collected within a short period of time. And what it means is that, and I look at just the relationship, the causal effects. So they can, other research will also look at the right time. What I mean is they can take the longitudinal approach to look at this topic and then make the topic better for all of us to understand it. Thank you.
Ms. Moa, I have this thing here so you can. We will take the questions that we have, 2-2, and 2-2. And when you pick one question, you ask one, wait for another one, and ask another. So the next one, I want to know the next question. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is very detailed work. It's your PhD, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very loaded. My first question is, there is one scholar in your field is HR. Yeah. Yes, his name is Jaworski. He proposed the MOA theory. MOA theory. That is motivation, opportunity, ability theory. And
What is the name again?
Jaworski, you may check him out later on. And I was wondering why you skipped the MOA theory, who is a proponent in the field of human resource and marketing, and you rather chose the OAM theory to underline your study. That is my first question.
I don't get the question. If you can come again.
Okay, go to your research objectives. Or better still, the underlying theory.
Okay.
I just want to help and see how we can clarify that. The theory. Very good. You use Applebaum theory. He proposed the AMO, right? That is the ability, motivation, opportunity. I don't know his field, but I know that Jaworski, who is in the field of HR and marketing, proposed the motivation, opportunity, ability theory. That is the MOA theory, to underline the study of how you can look at motivation within a context, the opportunities that brings, and the ability. So I was wondering, that was the first question, why wouldn't you have used one proponent who used the reverse of this theory in 1989, but he chose later on by Appium in 2000?
Okay. So for the literature I reviewed, was this person that developed the AMO theory. So that's the literature I reviewed. That's the information I have. And this is the very first time I'm hearing that name in HR2. So I'll check.
So you've not heard of MOA theory?
No, the name. The AMO theory was propounded by
Jaworski, I mean, if you know the MOA theory, you certainly know the proponent. So that is not a problem. And second, maybe you might want to find an answer to that. But I'm not convinced with why you chose this as against that. So maybe you might want to give us a reason. Because if you chose the AMO theory, I was hoping to see how your literature connects to this theory. I was not seeing the click. And secondly, whenever you use the AMO or MOA theory, these are monological links. What it means is that from an ability, you move to motivation, and certainly you move to opportunity. That was a reverse for Jaworski. So, in your case, did you find any reason to attest to the theory that AMO or AMO leads to that monological context in our Ghanaian environment?
I'm finding it so difficult to understand the question you are giving me because
what I'm saying is, the theory that you use is AMO. You forget about AMO.
Yeah.
Is ability, motivation, opportunity.
Yes.
And that is a monological sequential order of a network.
Okay.
That means whatever they found that Applebaum found in his contents, he found that when ability is in place, it leads to motivation and certainly leads to what? Opportunity.
Yeah.
Did you testify that or did you falsify that claim in our contest to justify the theory that you use?
I went to the field and I collected data. And I said this one is this one is I didn't falsify any data, if that's what you're saying.
Okay, no, maybe you are not understanding his question.
No, I don't understand this
You are
question.
not understanding his
So
question.
if you can come.
Wait. Provost is trying to provide a clear.
Okay. I confirmed. I didn't get the question.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
didn't
so
get the
the good thing for you is that we here, we are not your doctoral commission So we are offering you advice, okay? So the intervention I'm making is for Kingsley. Offer advice, all right? So then, and don't be defensive. Take the advice.
Yeah.
And if I listen to Kingsley properly,
Yeah.
he is suggesting that he is aware of some foundational theory that should underpin your study, which in his view is more, closer. I should explain what you are studying much better. If you are using another, there should be a reason why you are doing so. Have you adverted your mind to that? But your explanation suggests that you have not come across even that theory which he is explaining. That's an opportunity for you to want to go back and look for that theory and to see whether or not you would rather use that theory. Or if you are not and you are sticking to what you are doing, you can explain to a committee that puts to you, as he has suggested now, you can explain. But the fact that there is a very foundational theory, I'm not aware of it anyway, but that there is a foundational theory in what you are studying that you are not aware of suggests that the depth of your literature review is not sufficient. And so you may want to do a little bit more of literature review to become aware of everything that you need to be aware as you study this subject.
Prof,
Thank you very much, Prof.
But please,
This is just an observation. I think in Dr. Bodu's presentation too, the same thing. In the analysis of your findings, you only mention those that your findings were similar to. I didn't hear anything about contradictory findings. I don't know whether they are not, but if they are, it's important to also let us know the other findings that are contradictory to your findings.
Okay, thank you. Okay, two more. Who else? Who else has a question? Okay.
Yeah, Patricia, well done. You have control over your subject matter. But I would like you to go back to your first slide where your in-text references. I don't know whether you would like to choose a particular order, because for some, I saw that you moved from the latest to the oldest. The first slide, background. No, background, yes. So, for example, in the first one, you went by the earliest, oldest to the earliest. But when you get to point 3, you started with the latest to the oldest. I don't know whether maybe your team of supervisors have anything regarding that. It's just something I want to draw your attention to, whether you are sticking to one order and not mixing it up. Then, number 2. For your research method, there's a slide on research method. I don't know whether you are referring to research method or your methodology. My understanding is that there is a difference between methods and methodology. So I don't know whether it's just something, an oversight, or you mean what you have there.
Thank you. Nick.
But this is just a clarification. So on your sampling technique, you mentioned stratified sampling. Okay, I want to find out if you are the one who put them to groups or they've been grouped already. I mean, that's in the staff. Well, you mentioned that they were in departments. The department were already existing. So then you didn't do any stratification. So I think to be on the safer side, you don't need to mention that you use stratify because you didn't. You were the one who grouped them. By who? No. Possibly because the department, the firm is there. The department are already there. So on what basis do you say that you stratified? But maybe. Because I would be more you see, she had mentioned that you use simple random to select them. That could have made it clear than for you to come out with. Say,
I was trying to talk to, but if she says she did simple random, it would not actually be consistent with what she did, because she actually did the random sampling within departments. She didn't do a general random sampling.
Well, I think at a PhD level, if she goes by there's the simple, it will be highly questionable. So, best is she just say the stratification was already in a place. Then she added her own simple simplification. But to go by solely simple for PhD,
okay, but you mentioned that you used 2 theories in your work. You mentioned that you used 2 theories for the study, right? Good. Can you help us understand how that reflected in your model? I think that helped you in developing your model, right? Can you just help us to know how those reflected in your model?
I get the question here. So the first theory focused on just high performance work systems. Okay, so there's the model. So the AMO theory says that your high performance work systems should have these 3 main things: the ability, motivation, and then opportunity. So it explains the high performance work system. But when it comes to moving from high performance work system to the what do you call it, job performance, I bring in the job demand theory.
Are you okay?
Pardon? Which one did I introduce?
What components from the other model did you introduce here?
So here, I said I'm looking at just the direct relationship. The other one, I'm not looking at the other components. So the whole topic is, I'm looking at high performance work system, the moderating role of other supervisor support, well-being, and then job performance. Did you get my point? But because
yes.
Yeah. And I'm saying that so that so now the organization will have these systems in place. When they have them in place, what it means is that they expect more from employees. Okay, so now the link from high performance work system and the job performance, I bring in the job demand theory to explain that you want more from me. There is, what do you call it? The expectation will put pressure on me. That will lead to stress. Okay, I'm saying that then the high performance will serve as a buffer so they'll be able to perform. So that's the argument I'm making here. Okay.
All right.
I want some clarification, then my question follows. Did you take sample from all departments of the mining companies?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm not done with the data collection. I have done about 2 mining companies because I'm looking at sample size.
No, that is okay.
Uh-huh,
it means from every department of a mining company you took data. That is the confirmation I want.
Yes, please.
Okay. You were trying to describe work in a mining company as very stressful. Does that stress cover everybody? What I'm looking at is that those who will do the technical aspect of the miners themselves, that stress goes to them. I want clarification.
Okay.
If we took data from those working in the offices, like the secretaries and all, and we combine them with the miners who actually bear the stress, I'm wondering whether the finding will actually define specifically somebody who works in the mining environment. Because
if you take those, the support service, let's call it, the offices and those things, I can't see how their work would differ from, let's say, those who work in universities or other offices.
So can I come in now?
Yeah.
So please, Dr. Bode, your job, do you get stressed? The job you do get stressed? Then that answers it. So when you take the job demand bill, it says that irrespective of the profession you find yourself, as long as the organization wants something from you, there is kind of a stress, and it will lead to burnout. So this, when it comes to job demand, it's not environment. How do I call it? Yeah, it's cut across everywhere. So yeah, and I said I chose the mining sector because most of the research you see in that area are focusing on other sectors and ignoring the mining sector. That's the more reason why I chose the mining sector.
Thank you. One last question. Thank you very much, Ms. Moa. Well, I think this is a very fruitful exercise. The School of Business and Leadership is grateful for your attendance. We have learned a number of things. The students who participated, I'm sure you have picked one or two. You see the way your lectures are being grilled. You should know that when it comes to your turn, you will not be spared. Not by your lecturers alone, by your colleagues. They will not. Oh, is there a question?
So I will plead that in our subsequent presentations, the presenters send their abstract ahead of time. Because there wasn't any abstract, at least some of us couldn't follow, especially from the first presenter. So if abstract would have been sent ahead of time, we would have gone through to ask relevant questions.
Thank you. I think that is the fault of the organizers. That is the fault. They submitted their abstract. We didn't send it across. So that is the fault of the organizers. So don't blame the presenter. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prof. All right. Like you said, this is the first time we are organizing it at the school level. When we used to do it at the entire organization, university level, we had the printed book with the actual article in it, and so you had the benefit of reading from it. So maybe at the school level, subsequently we'll see how best to improve it. There are some things that we have learned. I am thinking the next one we should do an internal peer review of the article before they come here, so that certain things. so I am thinking that students no more here, right? So we are learning our lessons from it, so that the next one, which will come off in the next semester, we would improve on it. All right, Madam, the dean is here. I'll let her speak her last words before you.
On behalf of the School of Business and Leadership, I'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to all of you. I know it's been a tight day, especially for all those of us who have been at the executive committee meeting. I believe you have learned a lot from this section and will carry it forward to the next section. Thank you very much.
Provost, do you have some last words for us?
I didn't make a lot of comments on Patricia Moa's this thing because it's a PhD work. Otherwise, my interest really is how do we serve the Ghanaian community through our research? The university must get known through the research work of the lecturers and the students. And so we should be interested in research that impacts the Ghanaian society. And the only way we can do that is to serve the beneficiaries of all the people who has responsibility for the findings that we make. So although it's a PhD work, you should still find all the things that you are finding out. Who can make changes to better our lives and get in touch with that. But my interest, and that should go to the dean and the head of the 3 departments in the school. When are we going to see publications from the presentations that have been made?
All right. Okay. I can speak for the one that I'm involved. We are submitting it for general publication next month. So the publication usually will take like 6 months or 1 year. Minimum 1 year. I mean, to go back and forth. This one is just the tip of the iceberg. When you go there, they will know what to tell you. So we are hoping that in a year's time, you should see some publication coming out of it. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for guiding us through our research seminar. We are grateful to you for all the knowledge that has been impacted today. Father, we thank you for the suggestions that have come. Help us in our research directions. Help us to make the changes that are necessary for the improvement of our work. Help the understanding of all our students so that they can also learn much from this. Guide us in everything that we do. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Do you have an interest and passion for the media? Do you see yourself excelling in the field of journalism and multimedia, but do not have enough time and funds to pursue courses in those fields? That is why the Heritage Christian College Media Training School was set up to give you an opportunity to train yourself for 4 months and get a 2-month opportunity for attachment at Truth TV. With our state-of-the-art studio and newsroom, experienced friendly lecturers in the field of journalism and conducive lecture halls, we offer students the chance to learn on the job with both practical and theoretical lessons. We offer courses in journalism such as newscasting, show hosting, voice training and phonetics, voiceovers, report filing, and many others. In the field of multimedia, we offer courses in cinematography, video editing, animations, studio management, master control room management, light and sound engineering, set design, graphic design, photography, and social media management. We offer intensive 1-week courses in communication essentials for professionals. We have both weekday and weekend courses. We are located behind Amasaman Stadium in Accra. Heritage Christian College Media Training School gives you all the tips you need to succeed in the world of communication.
The goal of Heritage Christian College is to inspire its students to define their purpose in life by equipping them with the right skills to make them employable. Heritage Christian College seeks the evolution of each student through entrepreneurship, ethics, philanthropy, and technology. These values, we believe, would unfurl their wings and allow them reach their full potential and achieve their dreams.
Join us now for a world-class university education and experience the HCC difference.